But the very last thing I have to talk about after all of that is new segment, Untapped Potential. I have a new one. So I thought about it, and this is about Wonder Woman 84, and a change I think would have been dope. So again, this is going along with Maxwell Lord being his comic book counterpart self, right? So what if at some point he hired Deathstroke to fight Wonder Woman, to either take her out or like stall her? And this was like our first actual Deathstroke fighting introduction to Deathstroke in the DCEU. Because we already had him with, what's his name, Joe Manganiello, or however you pronounce his last name, playing him. And this could have been the first time we actually saw him. I was thinking,
could have been a younger Deathstroke too. That would
yeah, I was literally like going to sleep. I also didn't even take into consideration that it took place in 1984, but you're right, we would have a way younger Deathstroke. This could be like Deathstroke at the very beginning of his career as Deathstroke. But imagine if, he hired Deathstroke. But also, we could just, even if that wasn't possible, we could pretend like it's not in 84. Because like you said, we're talking about a better version of the movie. So maybe it's not even in 84. But Deathstroke, and this is the only scene he would be in, but just Deathstroke fighting Wonder Woman. Even though she would overpower him eventually, just him being basically, Deathstroke, being kind of like Batman and having a bunch of traps around to help him fight her because he knows she's stronger than him. But, I think that would have been cool to just have a little scene where Deathstroke comes in because Maxwell Lord hired him and he fights Wonder Woman. He's fought her in the comics before. It would have been dope. I think it would have been an interesting fight. And it would have been a cool scene. And it just popped in my head when I was trying to go to sleep. And I was so upset. I think it was last night. I was trying to go to sleep, and then I just got up and was like, I got to write this down. I got to add this to my notes. Otherwise, I'll forget. That could have happened. It could have been cool. Man, I'm kind of upset now. I don't think this would have popped up in anybody working on those movies' heads other than me, and I'm not working on those movies. If I was there, I would have said Deathstroke. Deathstroke, just one 5-minute scene, just Deathstroke fighting Wonder Woman. Then he loses and we cut. He never comes back until another movie. It would be cool if he just occasionally popped up in movies because he was hired by somebody to fight whoever the main character is. But yeah, how do you feel about
that? I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I definitely think it'd be interesting.
I wouldn't want him to, I wouldn't want him to be interjected as a third villain because we know how that goes when they add too many villains in a movie. But just for him to be in a short little scene, pop up, to be his more, not literally his more comedic counterpart in Deadpool, but in the sense that he would pop in as a cameo like Deadpool does.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. They need to redo Wonder Woman 84. They need to redo.
I don't think they need to redo it. It's like the Star Wars sequels. It's done. It happened. We just move on.
No, I mean they just need to redo the entirety of the DCEU.
Yeah, definitely that. Honestly, I think they need to just get rid of it and do what they're already doing and just making individual movies. And even though with Batman they're making their own little Batman universe, that's fine. Let's do that. Because I think the thing about Wonder Woman is there are a lot of really interesting characters in her world to introduce. You got the entire Greek pantheon. You got Donna Troy. You got what's her name? Cassie
Sandsmark, yeah.
Cassie Sandsmark. You got Artemis Croc. You got Nubia. Most recently, we got Yara Flor. She could even be in the universe in some shape or form. You have an interesting cast of these Amazons, and of course the Greek pantheon as a whole. And like how I said, I like the kind of brighter tone that they had with the second movie in terms of the way they filmed it. That could work with the whole going further into Greek mythology and having her go to Olympus and actually go to these very mythological places, going to Hades. I feel like they need to. That's the problem. I feel like that was the biggest problem with this movie. They didn't. I feel like they're missing opportunity to really expand on her world. they're really missing that opportunity because I feel like they're too busy trying to make a universe when they don't need to. And if they stuck to making individual movies and just rebooted it and had Wonder Woman in her own universe, we could see these other Greek characters and these other Amazons that are really interesting characters. And I think that would be
I really don't even like the Amazonian characters that much, but like they just they try to push too hard too fast, and then now they know that it hasn't worked. Instead of going back to the drawing board completely, they're trying to backtrack everything, and I'm like, don't do that. Just stop.
Yeah, you do it all the time in the comics. Just blank slate, start anew. If anything, make a movie like Justice League Dark and have everybody die and reboot it. Like, do something. Like they could, if they wanted to, they could make some random movie where everything gets restarted. They could do that.
They're pulling the Marvel Comics card right now where they don't reboot anything and just keeps going and going and going and going. Marvel, I want to say Marvel needs a reboot, but Marvel's doing good right now. I wouldn't say Marvel needs a reboot.
But yeah,
Marvel has not had one reboot, dude. That's a weird thing to think about. And DC has a reboot like once every like 10 years.
It's still kind of weird seeing like characters like Spider-Man, who's been around since the 60s, but he's still like in his early 30s now. Like he's
in his late 20s. He's like 27.
That's close to 30. Like
That's close to 30.
He's like there's still like he's not a teenager anymore, but he's still in his 20s.
It's 1 year in the Marvel universe, or no, 1 year in the Marvel universe is 4 years in the real world. That's the timeline that they've gone with.
That's fair, but still,
yeah,
no, it's weird. I still, they're gonna do something different with Damian after Future State, but I want to see an older Damian. We see older Damian now and again. Like there was an older Damian when he was like the Demon's Head and
Batman Beyond.
But we don't see an older Damian very often. I want to see an older Damian. At least older teenager Damian, if not adult, because we keep getting this little, very short, like, I don't even know how old he is, like 12 or something.
He's like 14.
Like, yeah, super young Damian. Like, give us like a 17-year-old Damian.
I'm fine with 14-year-old Damian in main universe. I just feel like they don't utilize characters that could benefit most from an alternate universe in alternate universes.
I think
it's always like the main character. It's always like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in alternate universes. When I'm like, the characters that should get capitalized most in alternate universes just get pushed to the side in alternate universes as well as the main universe.
Exactly.
I'm like, we can't win.
I think sometimes, despite the fact that they reboot and constantly making new universes, they don't take advantage of the universes they create.
They don't.
Like, there's so many interesting universes that they've created within their multiverse, but they don't use them, and it's odd. It's very odd. Like, I mean, off top, the first one that came to my mind was Earth 2. Both the original and the New 52 version with like Val-Zod and all of that. Like, they don't like Earth 2 is an interesting world. Both the one with like the Justice Society and the one with Val-Zod in it.
I want more Earth 1 comics. Like, Earth 1 is maybe I'm not gonna say objectively, but like it's the best critically received universe so far. And I feel like this is what Zack Snyder wanted to do with his universe, because Earth 1 is very dark and very grounded, and they're definitely different versions of the characters that we know, but they aren't bad. They're actually really good, and we're seeing them become closer to our like the Earth Prime counterparts that we know and love, and we're starting to see that a lot more. If Zack Snyder were to actually like care about the characters that he was writing movies for, and like actually did research into like the Earth 1 comics, I feel like the movies would not be that bad. Like, they'd actually be pretty good.
Yeah,